Oh my goodness, my guests are too funny. Live from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, it's the one and only Scarycast, a special Saturday night episode. I'm Dr. John Stamey, and I'm so glad to have everybody here with us. Our co host tonight is the one and only from Ewing, Virginia, Matt Delph. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. I'm doing great.
All right, I got to ask you a question. Are you ready?
I'm like lunch meat. I'm always ready.
That's right, especially olive loaf. Oh, God, I love that stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. We're glad to have you. Mark Johnston has a hall pass. He has to pick up a wonderful lady from work and take her home. And he couldn't be here with us tonight, but he expresses his extreme desire to be back next time. So he'll be back Monday night. We got another wonderful scary cast. Tonight, we are privileged to have the remote viewer and the lovely lady who was one of the stars of the Georgia Bigfoot Conference, the one and only Jessica Jones. How are you doing tonight, Jessica?
Hey, Dr. John, I'm doing good. It's good to be here with you and Matt. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. It's very important. This is a very important broadcast because we've got an event coming up, okay, because today is April the 6th. It is about 6:45 p.m. and on April 8th we have a full, well, partially or full solar eclipse. Kind of depends on what happens. So anyway, we're glad to have Jessica here to give us some guidance because she is an experienced remote viewer. And I'll tell you how I interpret remote viewing, and then I'm going to ask Jessica. Remote viewing means that you're psychic and you can zero in on places and times and see what is happening. Now, we know that remote viewing was very important to the CIA because Ingo Swann and Joe McMoneagle participated in these remote viewing experiments and they were deadly accurate. So, Jessica, first of all, good evening and how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually, I haven't let this eclipse worry me at all. Like, we get all this pre-programmed predictive programming that's going on right now about the eclipse with all the movies that have been coming out on Netflix, and people are really in a tizzy about this, I think, and everybody should be paying attention. Okay, if it's a least, at the very least, I think we should all pay attention to what's going to happen on Monday. There's a lot of anomalies to this eclipse, and I think that there is something. I think there may be something coming, but I refuse to live in fear. And if everybody's smart, they're going to go out and they're going to get some extra food and things like that, and some batteries, and just be prepared.
Okay. Well, I guess my first question for you, because a lot of our viewers might not know much about remote viewing. I guess my experience comes from Joe McMoneagle of the Monroe Institute when I was a research associate at the Rhine Institute of Parapsychology in Durham. But why don't you give us a quick overview of what exactly is remote viewing? I gave my definition, but what is yours because you're an experienced remote viewer?
Well, the type of remote viewing that I do is it's called, well, there are different modes of remote viewing, but in a nutshell, remote viewing is locating a target that's blind, that you don't know what it is, by using your psychic abilities, basically. And so the easiest one, the one that I use the most, and I say easy, it took me a long time to learn it. The one that I use the most is called coordinate remote viewing. And so I'm given a target. Actually, all I'm given is a set of numbers. Okay, I usually get a set of 8 numbers. And when I'm given those numbers, they are assigned to a target. Now, a target could be a place, and these aren't necessarily geographical coordinates. These are just a random set of numbers, a set of random numbers. But those numbers are assigned a target, and so it could be like a missing person, it could be an event, it could be an object. I mean, it could be anything in the future or the past, the present, right now. It could be anything. And so when I am given a set of those coordinates, someone will task me with these coordinates, and I will sit down at a desk by myself. I need total peace and quiet, and I take my pen and a stack of paper, and I draw out charts. And I start, and as soon as I write those numbers down on the paper, I have stages that I go through where I am just pulling information out of the matrix, basically. And anything that like I experience, as soon as I write those numbers down on that paper, and I do my ideograms, like automatic writing, things like that, all the sensory data comes in, and then I start seeing things. And it's like it's almost like astral traveling, kind of. But I'm just picking up information out of the matrix and writing everything down on that paper. And by the end of that session, I can pretty much tell you what I think that target is.
Okay, well that's a great definition. Now, what I have asked you to look at is not exactly a set of coordinates, longitude and latitude. I've just asked you to look at an event. Was that a little bit different than what you're normally used to?
Yes. Well, so what you did was kind of like more of a front-loaded kind of remote viewing kind of thing, and by definition, it's more just psychically looking into something. But I treated it as a coordinate remote viewing target. So it was just the date, next Monday, and whatever event was going to be happening. Okay. So yeah. So I got a good bit of data out of this, actually. So it's yeah, it's a great way to look into stuff. We use it out in the field. You know, Matthew and I go out and do our Bigfoot research together a good bit. And I have one of my teams. I'm on 3 different research teams, and one of my teams, we utilize remote viewing a lot in the field, and so it helps us with the cryptid research.
Right, and I know it does. I have worked with remote viewers in the past, and the results have been absolutely amazing. And I do want to give props to one of the greatest remote viewers, probably the greatest remote viewer in history, who was Ingo Swann. I hope he's up there in heaven, and I hope he's listening to what I'm saying. But he wrote this book, Penetration, and it is all about one of his experiments in remote viewing. He was incredible. He just knew what was going to happen. And that's what you talk about, is what is going to happen. So that's why we're extremely excited to have you here. And so I'm going to go ahead and trip the switch, and I'm going to say, Jessica, what do you see happening on Monday, April the 8th? And how would a guy in Myrtle Beach or somebody anywhere prepare for this? And maybe what is going to happen in the future? The floor, my friend, is yours.
Okay, thank you. Well, so I can tell you there's a few things that came about with this, with me looking into this. Okay, first of all, from the minute you kind of asked me to do this, I kept hearing the word karma, karma, karma in my head, and so I can't discount that. Okay, and by karma, it's almost like so with the energetics. Let's just say the energetics of what's going to happen. I feel like there's going to be, if there's not already a divide between people, I think there's going to be a bigger divide between different vibrational energies of people. And this is like on an esoteric level. Okay. I feel like there's going to be some sort of a divide. It's like if you've done good and you are a good person and you've done some healing work and you're ready to ascend, you're going to ascend. But those that are like, out for doing bad and, just hurting people all the time, they're going to be going lower. Okay. And I know that sounds wild, but I kept getting that before I even remote viewed this. Okay. So that's just one of my, let's just say that's a Jessica prediction. Okay. Right there. But
Okay.
with this one, okay, as far as us, like what's going to happen and what we should do, I literally heard stock up now. Okay. So stock up now. I do believe there's going to be, and I'm not going to say this is totally because of the eclipse. I feel like there's something planned. Okay, according to my data, it seems as though there's like some planned and this is sneaky. I think there's some planned like cyber attacks. I did pick up on a power grid potential blackout. Okay, and this is like cross country, and I wrote down spread out. And I think that there could be some food and water shortages, okay, but that's just because people are going to be in panic mode, okay, and I think that's what that is. But I did pick up on whatever's going to happen. I believe it's all pre-planned. Okay, so that was a big part of the data. If anything does happen, now I don't want anybody living in fear. Okay, so you guys don't be fearful of anything that might happen. Just be aware. Okay, be aware that there could be something, because it seems as though, and this is all like part of this data right here, is that there's a destabilization that is planned. Okay, a destabilization. I was picking up on like our country here in the United States, because the target was actually the United States. Like, what's going to happen in the United States as a result of this eclipse? And I picked up what I was getting was like, it's already destabilized. There is a planned invasion. There's a planned attack. Okay, now I also got that this is something that it may not be happening right after the eclipse. It's almost like this eclipse is a precursor. I actually wrote down dress rehearsal for something bigger that's planned. Okay, so it's almost like we're going to see what happens with all this, but there is something weird. There's something weird that may be going down on Monday. So just be prepared, y'all.
Be prepared, as in, I'm guessing, have bottled water and have things that you could eat if you needed to, if you didn't have power. Would that be correct?
Correct. Yes. In case we don't have power, I did pick up on a little bit of like some grids, some, what was this? Hold on. I forgot what I wrote down. Something about the grids. Oh, power grid attacks. But see, what I'm picking up on in this data was like more of like an inside job. Okay, so it's going to be an inside job. I hope this is safe for YouTube, Dr. John.
Well, you know what? I asked.
You did.
I put Scarycast and our announcers, Matt Delph, Mark Johnston, and Dr. Trey Dunaway, I put us all at risk because I said, Jessica, please tell us what you see. And I know that, it's one of those things that if you tell us what you see, and if the men in black don't want it to happen, I'm going to get a knock at my door. I don't see anyone. I'm looking in my parking lot in front of my condo, and I don't see anybody. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And Matt, are you okay that I put you at risk?
I've been at risk since day one of this stuff, so I ain't worried about it. I'm the badass monster hunter. Why am I ain't worried about it.
I know, and I've been at risk too. I've been at risk since 1988, when the feds targeted me for about 3 years, and it was terrifying. So all I got to say is we're all at risk. We know what we're doing, but this is going to be posted by 9 p.m. Eastern time on bigfootandcompany.info, our website, and it's going to be posted on iHeartRadio. And people I know one thing, Jessica, thanks to what you've said, I'm going to go out and buy me some water. I'm going to buy some canned meats and food, and I'm going to enjoy that I'm on a low carb diet, so that'll help me. But we're going to, it'll never hurt to have extra water here at your house, will it, Jessica?
No, not at all. I mean, I go camping a lot, so I have all the camping gear. I mean, I was out today. I actually bought a battery powered fan. Okay, like anything stock up on batteries, water, storable foods, like canned goods, and it doesn't hurt to. I know it's kind of late now to get this, but to get the storable foods that you can buy online for survival and stuff, or go to Walmart or your local like Academy Sports, like your sporting goods stores, and you can get those little ready-made meals that you can take camping. and stock up on those just in case. Just in case.
Right.
Now, and I don't want people to be scared or anything. I mean, maybe nothing will happen.
Right.
You know.
But Mark Johnston will be here tomorrow night talking about this. He is an expert in survival, and he will talk to us about what do you need to get. So we're lucky. You know what? We are really lucky that we have, first of all, Scarycasters Matt Delph and Jessica Jones to talk about this, and we'll have Mark Johnston tomorrow. I mean, it's very important to be prepared. Am I correct, Jessica? Is that statement correct? It is very important to be prepared.
Oh my gosh, I'm always prepared. Yes. Yeah, stock up. Don't just stock up when there's about to be an emergency. Stock up just in case, because everybody's going to be running to the store this weekend probably. It's good just to have it. I mean, I've been kind of like expecting something crazy to happen for the past few years. So, some of us have been stocking up gradually for a while. Okay. And, but don't be telling everybody you're stocking up. Okay. Because those neighbors will find out. They'll come after you when the power goes out. So, you don't want a confrontation with your next door neighbor. You don't have to have one.
Well,
So
Unless
keep
they
it
have,
quiet.
mine just passed away 3 weeks ago, so I'm okay there.
I'm gonna say,
Good.
unless your neighbors have a lot of supplies, then you might take their supplies.
Yeah, find out what your neighbors have though. Just don't tell them
Yeah.
what you have. Yeah. Well, and it's also good to have stuff to barter. Okay. So this is something that I learned. I used to do seminars and things when I worked with the government a long time ago. And my friend Paul Purcell, he wrote a book called Disaster Prep 101. And this was back in the early 2000s. He would come and speak at some of our events, and he said to always have things like big jugs of vodka and like bourbon and stuff, like have stuff and like diapers, even if you don't use them, like having baby wipes, diapers, alcohol, cigarettes, so that you can barter with people. And I'm not saying this is going to happen this week, okay, but this is just from a prepping standpoint. Get things like that so that you can trade. Like if you need something from your neighbor, you can, and they want cigarettes, you'll have cigarettes to give them, or alcohol or diapers. Okay. Anything, feminine products for women. I mean, even if you're a man, it doesn't hurt to have them so you can barter.
Right. And I certainly agree with that. And I would say have gold and silver.
Yeah.
That is one of the most important things you can have. If Edgar Allan Poe wrote The Gold Bug, he was talking about me because I am the silver bug. And I know that silver is one of the most important commodities that you can have. So you just got to have things like this. And so basically, we're on a trial run for something that could be bigger and worse. Is that correct?
That is what my data was suggesting. But, okay, so I'm a firm believer in, first of all, us changing the timeline. Okay, like that doesn't mean if enough of us catch on to what's happening, and this is some sort of an inside job that's about to go down, if we find out about it and we talk about it, we can change it. Okay, it doesn't mean that is set in stone and that's going to happen. So just keep positive about this. Be prepared. Don't panic. Don't panic and don't live in fear. Okay, but just be ready so you can be comfortable. If the power does go out, have a plan. Okay, just have a plan.
I agree. Matt, I want to ask you because you have been very kind and quiet and you sit there for the entire podcast so far. What questions do you have for Jessica?
Okay. I'm like you. I believe this is a scare tactic. But there's a lot of strange events going on, and stuff like some of the conspiracy theories or whatever you want to call them. There's going to be National Guard in Texas, in Oklahoma. You've got the way this path is going. I have noticed one thing though: the way the path is going through the United States. These storm systems have been going right through the same path that this eclipse is going to be going. Now, my question though, you're supposed to have a comet too. They called it, what was it, the Devil's Comet? Something like that. That's going to be coming through at the same time. But we have, okay, the sun or whatever is supposed to be, what is it, Aquarius or Pisces? One of
It's
the two.
Pisces. It's supposed to be in Pisces, where they don't even line up to make an eclipse.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. The sun has been moving. It's not in its correct spot according to the astrology.
Yeah.
And I was kind of curious if you could give some insight on that, if you know a little
Yeah.
bit about that. It's been moving, I believe, for a little while, hasn't it?
It has. Let's see. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I do understand from what I've been told. The moon is in Pisces, and it's just not lining up where the sun and the moon would actually pass each other in that alignment. So there's absolutely no way that this eclipse is even supposed to happen. So everything is off kilter, and I don't know if this is man-made. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
So,
And so, yeah, I don't know about that.
I was going to say, so if it's not the moon lining up blocking the sun, wonder what that is.
Yeah, and we're told not to look. Don't look. Don't look at it. I mean, there's different theories as to like what the eclipse actually is. Even though they say it's like the sun blocking the moon blocking the sun out and things like that.
Right, and what I'll say is that in 1917, the sun was blocked by something. It was like one of the greatest religious experiences of all time, and the sun was blocked. We don't know what it was blocked by. Some people say it was a UFO, but it was amazing what happened in 1917. The everything was weird. It happened in Fatima, Portugal, and we don't know what happened, but it was an amazing thing. It was called a religious miracle, and so we don't know. That's all I have to say.
They're making all these movies and Netflix shows and stuff about kind of what's about to happen. It's like I said, predictive programming, right? Like Leave the World Behind, that movie. They actually showed the eclipse, I think, in that movie. Had a solar eclipse. And they were even hinting right after that eclipse happened in the show. I didn't see the show, but I just heard about it. Said that right after the eclipse happened, the little boy lost all of his teeth. Like all of his teeth fell out. Like it was radiation poisoning. Okay, so and the National Guard is actually calling in special teams for biological and chemical and radiological special units for in the passive list.
Now, Jessica, are they actually doing that now? Or is that part of the movie?
I actually heard they're doing that now. Okay. So they're doing that now. The little boy, but they were showing it in the movie. And now, from what I've been told, and I'm not there, so I don't know for sure, but I've been told that they do have those units set in the path right there.
Yep. And now they have closed down the schools, some of the schools up in Indiana where my friends live. They do not have school Monday, and he doesn't have work Monday because of the eclipse, supposedly. So I thought that was kind of a little odd. Does your son have school Monday?
He does, but my mother is so dead set on him not going to school that day because he's in public school, and so, I mean, we don't want another, dare I say, like Maui incident to happen where, something happens, we can't get it to our kids, or the kids disappear or something. I mean, I say don't panic about any of this, but I mean, we just live in such a weird world right now. My son is everything to me, so I will do whatever I have to do to protect him.
But we are not in the direct path, though. Mm-hmm. So I think that mostly the people that are in that direct path is like with Oklahoma and Texas, corner of Texas. Oklahoma is where the National Guard is supposed to be deployed at, and right up to Indiana, where where they're not having, some of the workplaces are closing and schools are closing. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if, like I said, could be a scare tactic, but they're up to something. They are up to something.
Well, there was a news report that came out. There was somebody, I don't know where this was, but I saw it myself. There was a gentleman, one of the newscasters said, he was talking about the eclipse earthquake. He was like, we got something else coming. We had a earthquake in, the New England, like, what was that, New York, I guess? He's like, we had this earthquake. He's like, but it's just to prepare us for Monday with the eclipse earthquake we've got coming. So what was that about? I mean, why would that man have announced that on a news channel, that there's an eclipse earthquake coming on Monday?
One never knows.
I know.
Yes, Matt?
I believe it's planned. Something is planned, and it's a scare tactic.
Yep.
Definitely a scare tactic. But just go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, well, they do have weather manipulation, weather weapons. Okay, weather manipulation, earthquake machines, I've been told. Okay, so I don't know. Fasten your seatbelt just in case. We might be in for a wild ride.
And I guess with that, I would say, Jessica, we've probably discussed everything that you might know about the eclipse, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I picked up on a little bit of chaos. Okay, a little bit of chaos is whatever's going to happen, but it's not. I mean, we've had so many eclipses in the past. I remember solar eclipses. I mean, we've had them over the past. I mean, we had one when Trump was in office, right? I do believe, and it's like I remember that. We had one when I was a kid. I mean, we have them. It's not that uncommon. Why is this one so much different than all these past solar eclipses?
That is absolutely the question. 2017. Oh, we're going to have an eclipse. Cool. And that was it. Now it's like a major event. So anyway, we will see Monday, and I guess I will say from Scarycast, buy some water, buy some canned meat, and hope for the best. You can use both of them. Matt, do you have any questions or comments?
No, just kind of curious though about the whole astrology thing. With my main thing is if the sun and the moon aren't lining up, the question is what is going to cause this eclipse if that's not, what is passing by that we don't know about.
Well, just look up 1917 Miracle of the Sun on Wikipedia. I mean, you can say what you will. I won't say any more. 1917 Miracle of the Sun. And you can see what I think. So, Jessica, first of all, thank you. Matt, thank you very much. And Jessica, you are the mother of one of our favorite Scarycasters, the one and only Ben King. He was the absolute hit of the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. And please tell Ben that we recognized him and we said we want him back at every event that we do. He is a lot of fun.
I'll tell him. He'll get a kick out of that. Thank you. He had a great time, and he had a great time on your show as well.
Well, that's great. Well, we're going to have him back because he's a really great guy, and he's smart. For someone that's 9 years old, he is extremely smart, and I like smart people like you and Matt. So Ben King is going to be there with us pretty soon, and tell Ben thank you very much for being with Scarycast, and we want him there as much as we can. So I wanted to say thank you everybody who listened. This has been your lesson. Be careful. Don't be afraid, but be careful. Jessica, you get the last question and comment. Is that the correct thing to say? Be careful, but don't be afraid.
Yes, don't live in fear. It's almost like that's what we're being pushed into is fear, and so just be aware. Just be aware. I mean, I personally may keep my son out of school on Monday. Okay, just because we just don't know what's going to happen, and in this world, we just don't know the state of our country right now. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. And with that data, it definitely feels like they've got some funny business up their sleeve. They do. So just be aware and yeah, stock up, get some extra dog food, whatever too, and some snacks and stuff, just in case the power might go out for a little while. But I think we're all going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. But just be prepared just in case.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. And Matt, what do you have to say?
Talking about stocking up, don't forget gasoline. I'd say a lot of people probably make sure you got a full tank of gas. Just to be on the safe side. Who knows what kind of chaos they're trying to stir up. So.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you, both of you. I will be doing my call around. I'll start with Jessica and then with Matt. And we'll just say thank you both for being on this extra special Scarycast as we discuss the upcoming eclipse, April 8th, 2024. Oh my goodness, wonder what's going to happen. But you should be more prepared now because our guests and co-hosts have been very specific. Be prepared, go buy some extra provisions, and be vigilant because that's what's important. Thanks a lot. We'll be back next time very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, Jessica.
Bye. Thanks for having us.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, take care, everybody.